All of you for coming to help us participate in getting the information and out to the people of the state so they'll know what's happening in these government circles and have information on which to base their decisions. We have a new disaster on our hands now, of course, with the tornado. As you know, it came through last night at varying times, somewhere between 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, or maybe a little earlier, on through past daylight, and did a whole lot of damage. And several of us went up to Seneca today to look at it there. They also had damage in the neighboring counties, as well as around Orangeburg and as well as around Hampton. And it is quite something to see. The destruction is enormous. The trees broken off, big pine trees halfway up with no limbs on them, and the top's gone somewhere. Big oak trees ripped up, houses smashed, everything smashed but the spirit of the people in Seneca. It's quite a sight to see. So, Chaplain, we have another group that we can begin praying for as well. Keep them in our prayers as well, because they're nine of our fellow South Carolinians lost their lives, and I hope that's all. But we are assessing the financial impact, the damage, for two purposes. One is for an state of emergency declaration in the state, and also to submit information about the financial damage and personal consequences, both to government buildings, infrastructure, as well as to homes, to the federal government for disaster declaration there, and all that those things entail. But I wish you could have seen the spirit of the people in Seneca. There were trees lying all over the place, and houses knocked down, and some gone, and cars, trucks turned end on end, and the roof and parts of the Borg-Warner factory up there, which is huge, was just all over Seneca. It was quite a sight. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like it, and I've seen a lot of hurricanes and a few tornadoes, but this is really something, and the damage was also horrendous in Orangeburg and those counties there, and Hampton and Colleton and in that area as well, and Berkeley, I believe, too. So we pray for those and families who are lost their loved ones, but let's go forward strongly and continue on as we have been. In the last 4 weeks, we have lost a lot of jobs in South Carolina. The market sources coming into some of our businesses have disappeared, and they have had to close. The customers have dried up, and that has affected other businesses. And of course, there are some that we consider to be the best place to the businesses that we unfortunately decided must be closed in order to protect the public. And we've got over 260,000 people, at least that many, that as a result of all these things have lost their jobs. And the federal resources are just becoming available. The $600 that has been mentioned time and time again, that'll be supplement unemployment, ought to be in people's bank accounts or debit cards soon, if not already. But that's the beginning of that, and if I would urge everyone to go to the websites. All of them are tied in together, and find a way, if you're covered by any of those programs, and there are a lot of them, to find a way to get some resources to help you get through. But the main thing, what we hope that we can do, is we can get our economy started back again, get this economic engine going. We've tried to, and are still trying, and trying with great determination and deliberation to do as much damage as we can to the virus and to stop it without stopping businesses and pushing them underwater and into bankruptcy. Every business is essential to somebody, particularly the one working there. And so what might be essential to you might not be essential to him or her. But we want to get all these businesses going back as soon as we can. And to that end, we will be announcing before long a plan, a rejuvenation plan, a revitalization plan, in order to get our economy started again. But now I can tell you that we've made a lot of progress. Our hospitals, the healthcare providers have stood up in great strength. We are prepared for the worst. We're working hard. The compliance has been good across the board in all the things that we've asked people to do, but now's not the time to let up. We have to keep on going and keep working together and following the advice and recommendations that have come from those official sources. And I believe that we'll make great progress and we'll come out of this very well. So with that, Dr. Traxler.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon. Today we are reporting 127 new cases of COVID-19 in South Carolina, which brings the total number of people who have tested positive for the disease in our state to 3,439. Unfortunately, we also report 5 additional deaths, bringing our total number of deaths of those who have tested positive for COVID-19 to 87. Let's continue to remember that these are not just numbers. They are people. None of us is immune to this disease, and there currently is no vaccine. The virus is widespread in our state and in our communities. Half of the counties in South Carolina have experienced 1 or more deaths among its residents. To support anticipated increases of people confirmed to have COVID-19, we continue to work with our partners, such as EMD and healthcare facilities, to stay updated on the availability of acute care beds throughout the state. As of yesterday, we are at approximately 51% capacity with 5,748 beds available. A total of 32,764 tests have been run by DHEC's Public Health Laboratory and private labs in our state. This means that approximately 10% of tests from South Carolina residents have been positive for COVID-19. Protect yourself and others from this disease. People in our communities are getting sick and even dying of this. People 65 years and older and those with conditions such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease are at the greatest risk. Help stop the spread of COVID-19 by staying home as much as possible, avoiding close contact with others, washing your hands frequently, and continuing to take your prescribed medications. For the latest information, you can visit our website, which is scdhec.gov/COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Okowski. Yes, sir.
My name is Richard Kulski. I'm the meteorologist in charge of the National Weather Service office in Columbia. And unfortunately, we had the most significant severe weather outbreak in South Carolina since March of 2008. In fact, this was the most significant U.S. Severe weather outbreak since March 2012. The front that came through, it started in Louisiana on Easter morning and then moved to the South Carolina coast by late this morning. We had multiple long track strong, which is EF2 damage or greater tornadoes move across the state from about 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. this morning. Some of the survey work, this information is coming in as we speak. It completed in Barnwell, Orangeburg, and Calhoun counties. The worst damage we've seen is EF3 damage so far, 140 miles per hour. Additional survey work will be required tomorrow along this track, particularly in Aiken County. Surveyors reported EF0 damage along a 7.4-mile track in Pickens County. And then we have survey teams continuing to work in Hampton, Berkeley, and Dorchester counties. More surveying is required also from Edisto Beach to Kiowa Island. We have ongoing surveys in Georgetown, South Carolina, with a preliminary rating of EF1 damage west of downtown Georgetown. Another tornado is possible near Litchfield Beach, and more survey work required as well in Horry and Marlborough counties. The governor mentioned Seneca. The Westminster to Seneca track, the damage so far is EF3 damage. I don't have a maximum wind speed. Warehouses and numerous homes were damaged. Then also in northern Pickens to Greenville County, a track with EF2 damage with 120 miles per hour maximum winds, with several mobile homes destroyed. There will be more damage surveys which will take place tomorrow and probably into Wednesday. And some things to consider with this event, with this outbreak, is it could have been far worse if that front had gone through in the afternoon hours of peak heating versus the early morning hours. It was bad enough. And, you know, it's going to take some time to go through and get a final report for the state in terms of any disaster declarations. It's tedious work. These tracks, some of them are 30 to 50 miles long. This is a very rare situation that I've only faced working in different parts of the country several times in my career, and I'm grateful that the damage so far, it's bad, but it could have been far worse. Thank you, Governor.
Thanks, sir. Dr. Stinson. Sir.
Kim Stinson from State Emergency Management. We'll talk first a little bit about the severe weather and then follow up with some COVID-19 information. But this has definitely been a statewide event, and most counties have reported some level of damage. Of course, some worse than others, but we've got damage assessments that are ongoing and don't have a lot of really good figures right now, but we hope to certainly later tonight and in the morning. But the hardest hit areas right now include Aiken, Berkeley, Colleton, Hampton, Oconee, Orangeburg, and Pickens counties, who have reported multiple homes either damaged or destroyed. As the governor mentioned, there were unfortunately nine fatalities that have been reported. There was 5 in Hampton County, 2 in Orangeburg County, 1 in Oconee County, and 1 in Colleton County. And this number may increase as access right now is still somewhat limited in some of those areas that were hardest hit. So we'll continue to look at that number. Peak power outages for this event was around 290,000 customers. And it's currently, when I walked in here, it's less than 90,000 total customers right now that are out of power. So they made considerable progress throughout the day. And then state assistance for this operation has included damage assessment flyovers in Oconee and Orangeburg, chainsaw teams to Pickens and Oconee, deployed also an incident management team to Seneca, and we've got numerous state agencies that are responding under their normal authorities, including SLED, DNR, and others. It's really kind of too early in the damage assessment process to determine if we might be eligible for any federal assistance, but we'll continue working with the local authorities, today, tonight, and certainly tomorrow in analyzing and finalizing that data. Would remind all our citizens, and about 190,000 of them already done it, signed up for our South Carolina Emergency Manager app, which you can download at Google Play or at the Apple Store. And basically, it's got a lot of good information in there to how to stay prepared, plan. It's a mobile device, so you can take it with you, obviously, anywhere you need to go. But in particular, I want to mention that there's a damage assessment section in there. There's a module in there under the tools section that allows you to submit a damage assessment and then forward that to us, and then we get it back out to the counties, and we'll use that as another way of tracking damage. Because you can imagine, talked about already the National Weather Service in terms of the length of the tornadoes and the area it actually covers in some of the counties. Certainly a lot of area to cover. So if citizens could download that app, they can use it in the future for hurricanes and everything else. But at this time, in particular, the damage assessment piece of it. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is that South Carolina has activated our donated goods system for COVID-19, similar to what we do during hurricanes and floods. And we have a system to manage that. And currently we're looking for donations of personal protective equipment to safeguard healthcare professionals and first responders. And that specific needs include gloves, gowns, face shields, N95 respirator masks, and hand sanitizer. And those donations can be coordinated by calling the following number. That's 803-737-8518. That's 803-737-8518. And there's also a link on our webpage, too, if you want some more information in terms of that. And our webpage is at scemd.org. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir. Secretary Hall.
Good afternoon. I'm Secretary Hall with the Department of Transportation. Just wanted to give you a quick update on the status of the roads in the state. When the storm moved through the state this morning, we had roughly about 2,500 trees that came down across the roads. That included across portions of I-26 near Volvo, as well as I-95 in Colleton County at around mile marker 55. Our crews, which are approximately about 2,000 employees, paired up with first responders, fire department, local government officials, and our power companies to push really hard today to get most of those roads reopened. About 30% of those roads or those closures involve trees tangled up in power lines, so I want to say thank you to the power companies for pairing up with our teams to get those to get that remedied going forward. We estimate that roughly about 70% of all the roads will be reopened today, with about 30% carrying over into tomorrow as we move crews into some of these more harder hit areas. Hampton County in particular is one of the areas that we're moving crews, additional road crews into from adjacent counties in order to try to get those roads reopened as quickly as possible. One last thing, if I may, just encourage, if you're out on the roads traveling throughout the state, please travel with caution. There's still a lot of debris on the side of the roads, and as I mentioned, about 30% of the roads that we had closed earlier in the day, we're still working to get cleared and operational. So thank you for your patience, Governor.
Thank you, ma'am.